So today I'm washing up Blue. I haven't drove her in like 2 months ish. It's a moment of truth. She's alive. We got a long story ahead of us. What is going on, everyone? Derek here today, bringing you another video. For those of you that might be new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. For everybody here right now, drop a like up on this video. And you guys can obviously see, today I am gonna be giving you the full scoop of this car right here. And to about 70,000 people, this car was an icon. And as you can see, it's back. So that's exactly what we're doing today. We're gonna go into this story, guys. I have so much to tell you, so please, bear with me. It's a long story. I'm starting from the very beginning. For those of you that may already know this, for those of you that don't know, I'm gonna go over it anyway. This right here is my 1999 Bright Atlantic Blue Mustang GT, also known as Blue2Valve. That's kind of the name that's stuck here on the YouTube platform ever since I started filming this car, starting probably, gosh, nearly 5 years ago, I would say. This car behind me has been through so much, and it's just so crazy to me that I'm able to make this video about a year and a half later with it back in my possession. So guys, this car and I have history, and this history started my junior year of high school. I want to say I was 17 years old. I was working at Jersey Mike's Sub, making like minimum wage. And while in high school, there kind of came a time to where, you know, everybody was starting to get cars. And yeah, I started off with a truck. I had a 1998 Dodge Dakota Sport, and you know, I ended up flipping that car, believe it or not. I got a pretty good chunk of money for that. So with selling the truck and making a good amount of money, I was on the search for a Mustang because my best friend at the time, and he's still one of my best friends till death, Shane Thompson, he actually bought, I want to say it was like a 1996 SN95 GT. He got it before me, and the whole jealousy thing set in because I wanted a Mustang. So, you know, I had to give up a lot to make that happen because, you know, I come from a household, I come from a family to where things just aren't like given to you, especially things on like this caliber. So the sacrifices I had to make is I had to actually quit football. I played freshman and sophomore year at Hermitage High School, and I wanted to continue playing. I absolutely love football. It was actually a dream of mine in life, was to become a college quarterback and then NFL. But you know, for those of you that know my family, my dad and uncle are both like 6'2", 6'3", and I'm like 5'10". So I kind of took the bullet on that one and just accepted the fact that it probably wasn't going to happen, and I was okay with it. Quit football, I got a job, and with the job, that's where Jersey Mike's comes into play. I was steadily saving some money to where, you know, I could buy a Mustang. Fast forwarding a couple months, guys, I started looking on Craigslist and stuff, and I saw this thing, and I knew it was blue. That's about it. I hadn't seen any colors like this car, and yes, this is a factory color, Bright Atlantic Blue. It was so weird and so bizarre because I found this car on Craigslist and I absolutely fell in love with it, and I was in the market for a car. So what I did is I saved one of the photos that was on the original Craigslist ad. I saved that photo and I set it as my school's laptop background. So every day I'd have to look at it. My dad and I sat down, we talked, and I wasn't making a crazy amount of money, but you know, he did see the effort I was putting in, and with getting a job and things like that, it was definitely a struggle. It took me a long time to find a job for some reason. I don't know why. Well, actually I do know why. Come to find out, I was putting down the wrong social security number the whole time. So after getting the job, my dad and I sat down. He obviously saw I was trying. Definitely gave me a personal loan. I'm gonna be real with you. Gave me a personal loan on top of the cash that I already had from my truck. And you know, him and I think we traveled to Charlottesville, Virginia. We met at a rest stop with this guy, and he brought Blue here. Test drove it, everything checked out perfectly fine. The mechanical side, the body side of things. And I fell in love. Just you know, at 17 years old, able to bring this home, and it wasn't the prettiest thing, like modification wise, but it was still my first Mustang, and it was a GT. And so in this point in time, I am going to start fast forwarding a little bit, chunks at a time, just because I'm not going to give you my full life story. But that's how I came in possession of Blue2Valve here. And it wasn't until about 2 months later that the car would initially sit for a total of 8 full months, and here's why. So we ended up getting the car home. That was all fine. Went to DMV, got all the paperwork, title, tags, everything was good with that. And you know, I started driving it to school every day. I would do some slight modifications, you know, Mach 1 chin spoiler, Mach 1 grill delete, the whole American muscle package of getting a new edge. And let me remind you, at the time, I wasn't who I am today. I was not the Derek that was like into cars, wanting to modify things, wanting to film. This Derek wasn't on YouTube yet. Keep that in mind. So I was just dabbling into the automotive world at this time. So as I mentioned, 2 months went by. On my way to school one morning, I actually started to hear what sounded like a ticking at the time. So I started to hear the ticking, and it became one of those things to where on my way to school, I wasn't really mechanically savvy. So I was hoping that it was just one of those things to where I would park the car for the day, turn it off, do my thing throughout the day at school, come back, turn it back on, and you know, the ticking would be gone. But needless to say, that wasn't necessarily the case, and I soonly found out that this car threw a rod. The first day wasn't as bad, slight ticking, and you know, I had to keep driving it because it was my only form of transportation to school and back, and I wasn't taking the bus. I continued to drive it. The rod knock got extremely bad, to the point it sounded like the damn piston was slapping the hood. It was so loud. I had to call it a day, and the car parked right where it's sitting for 8 full months before I could get a motor put in it. So fast forwarding those 8 months, I remember to this day so vividly that I had a big box truck backing into the driveway, and you know, he opened up the door, and the only thing sitting in that truck on a big pallet was a fresh 2-valve motor that had 35,000 miles on it, that was pulled from another new edge. The excitement, I still remember the feeling inside. That excitement, I don't think I have quite yet matched in life to that specific moment. Looking at this car every day and not being able to drive it, still modifying it even though I couldn't drive it, and to see the whole entire like heart transplant be dropped off to the house was just, it was the best feeling in the world. It really was. So with having the motor delivered, we took the car to a shop, took the motor to the shop, and I want to say they knocked it out in about, we'll say 2 weeks. I can't quite remember, but I want to say 2 weeks. They had the full motor swapped in there and everything, and it was pickup day. So driving to the automotive shop that was doing the swap was probably the most anxious, excited, just great feeling day I have ever experienced in my life, and definitely hit me, especially when the guy handed me the keys, and I remember he was like, start her up, listen to it. Got in the seat, I started her up, and she cranked right away, and she was just alive, sounding so healthy, no more rod knock. And you know, I'm sitting there just giving it some revs and stuff, and it was just, it was insane. It really was. And from that point forward, I definitely appreciated having the car way more than just like, you know, oh look, I got a Mustang and it runs every day. No, it's definitely changed my whole outlook on cars, that's for sure. Definitely sucked, man. It really did. It was a life lesson. So by this time the car's running, I'm starting to get into the little car scene around Richmond. You know, I'm going to car meets, I'm washing it up. The car still isn't like super nice when it comes to modifications, but doing what I can with earning $800 a month, $900 a month. I don't know. I still can't even fathom to this day how I was living off that. So time goes by, and during this time, I'm still skateboarding. For those of you that know, I've been skateboarding my whole life, 15 plus years, and I went through that whole rabbit hole of filming, having cameras just for that. But anyway, I was still familiar with the whole YouTube thing. At one point in time, I just remember trying to film a car. Pretty much started off like that, and it was just a spark and a flame that just never went out. Started taking the car, my camera, and the tripod with the little slider to car meets, and I was filming all these car meets and things like that. The day came where I was, you know, really starting to take it serious. I wasn't making anything from it at the time, but it was fun to me and I was getting attention from it and I loved doing it. And yeah, that's kind of how this car landed on the channel, and one thing led to another, which resulted in the birth of the series, Redo Blue. What is going on, everyone? Derek here today, bringing you the first episode of Redo Blue. In this series, I'm going to be redoing my 1999 Bright Atlantic Blue Mustang GT from the wheels to the interior. I want to make these videos for you guys so you can see how the car progresses, the problems we run into, and how we solve them. I was making a whole ton of videos at the time, just a lot of different things, and it pretty much came to the point where myself in this car became pretty well known on YouTube in the new edge community. And I want to say I definitely got lucky in a sense, because this car set me apart from the other YouTubers that had the latest and greatest, you know. I want to say I started in like 2014, and the 13-14 Coyotes were cream of the crop at the time, and I took it and ran with it. But you know, it came to the time to where I started seeing a lot of people around me getting these newer Coyote Mustangs and newer cars, and I was kind of getting burnt out at the time. So looking back, this happened about a year and 4 months ago. I ended up finding a buyer for Blue, and at the time I had to take it and run because I was actually offered $13,000 cash. To sum it up, I really wanted a new car. I got bored with this and I sold it, $13,000 cash, which allowed me to get my dream car, Lucifer. Just didn't sit right with me. It really didn't. And from that day, when I sold the car, I want to say I even told Jordan, I don't know if he remembers this, but told him I would buy that car back. There was gonna be a day, there was gonna be a time to where I was able to buy that car back, and if there were a way for it to happen, I was gonna do it. And here we are, a year and 4 months later. I bought the car back, still have Lucifer, and it pretty much just freaking goes into the perfect Cinderella story. Did I get lucky? Absolutely. Would I do it again? No. I did get extremely lucky with being able to get the car back in many different ways. The number one thing is the amount of support on YouTube I have gotten over the years and whatnot. It's been a true blessing. It truly has. It just blows my mind thinking about it, like how everything happens for a reason. So that was part one, and part two is a huge part in this whole ordeal, and that is gonna be my sponsor and my buddy Mike. So last winter I actually met Mike online. He shot me an email after I posted the whole video of me picking up a new 250cc dirt bike. And Mike came out and he was like, "Hey Derek, I'm a big fan of the channel. You know, I see you just got a dirt bike. I actually owned a dirt bike shop. I have about $3,000 worth of gear. I want to send it to you." I mean, who wouldn't say, yeah, sure, because I needed it. I had nothing. And I had my suspicions, you know, no one typically does that, but a week later, I had $3,000 worth of dirt bike stuff sitting at my doorstep, and from there, you know, I couldn't believe it. So the thing about Mike I soon found out is that he has a really high-end detailing business in Texas. And you know, this guy's detailing Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Vipers, Mustangs, you know, doing the whole 9 yards, the ceramic coating, stage 3 paint corrections, all this stuff. And he was the real deal in Texas with this detailing stuff. And you know, with having the platform I had and him having the business that he had, I knew if we came together and partnered on a project, that it would be great for both of us. That's exactly what I did. I sent him an email proposal, and this is about 5 months ago, stating if he helps me get a project car, I will allow him to sponsor the build, and you know, from every video we post, he will have some sort of tie and promotion in that video. So you know, I sent him this proposal and he got back to me like 2 or 3 days later. He was like, you know, after reading that proposal, I definitely see a huge potential in this. And I got excited because I was like, oh, I'm about to get a Project Fox body. And as time went on, you guys obviously know that my dad and I actually partnered on a project car, which Project Fox. So we bought a Fox body. So I had to go back to the drawing board onto what car I wanted to get with Mike. And at that point in time, I was just waiting to buy my house here in Richmond, Virginia with my girlfriend. Well, when I tell you everything happens for a reason, it's because it's true. About 2 months ago, my girlfriend and I actually decided that we're not gonna buy a house in Virginia. We didn't want to do all that when we changed our mind and wanted to pack up and move to Florida with a 2-year time span. So since we weren't moving for another 2 years, I kind of just started looking online for project cars that I could present to Mike and we could go partnership on. And I remember, you can ask her this and she will tell you, I said these exact words, and they were, what if Blue came up for sale? Should I get it? And at the time, it was nothing. It was just like any other ordinary conversation we had about getting Blue back in the past. And you know, I don't know what it was, if I slept weird that night, if I triggered something in my brain to where it was a constant like reminder, but I don't know. It was weird because the next morning my life changed completely. The next morning I woke up and for the hell of it, I texted Blue's owner because I was in contact with him ever since he got possession of the car. I texted him one simple text. Are you ready to sell the car yet, with eye emojis? And I just remember he just responded with, I'm actually thinking about putting the car up for sale this weekend. Forget it, guys. The rest is freaking history, because once I read that, I went into full panic mode, full like, I gotta figure this out mode. And I instantly get on the phone with Mike. I'm like, Mike, listen to me. I know this isn't as planned out as possible. I know we're still in partnership on a project car, but something came up and you have to listen to this. I just talked to the owner of Blue and he said he's willing to sell the car back to me for $10,000. All right, dude, all right, I'm gonna see what I can do. I'm gonna throw some money around and see what we can get going, and I'm gonna get back to you here shortly. He got back to me because the man wired me $4,000. And that's kind of where we're at with it, guys. All this happened within 2 days, and it was an opportunity I could never pass by. With Mike sponsoring this car, guys, all I ask you to do is support his business. As I mentioned, Mike owns a detailing business, and that detailing business is Texas Detailing Pros. He is located in Houston, Texas, and as I mentioned, this man details everything. Definitely check out his page. His Instagram's right here. Go run up his Instagram right now. Show an abundance amount of love, because if it wasn't for him, we would not have gotten this car back. I just want to go ahead and thank you guys so much for watching. There's the story on getting Blue2Valve back and how much we paid and what went down. And anyway, guys, make sure you drop a like on this video, drop a comment down below, and tune in tomorrow 8 p.m. Eastern time for another video. But until next time, we'll see you later.